taught me that this was the cool way that you drank soda. You don't open it all the way. You just do it like that.
Yeah, that was a weird, annoying thing people did.
Yeah. I don't know. I did it for years. I'm just like, oh, this is cool. It's the same reason why I got a bowl cut until I was like 12 because I thought they were saying bull, and I'm like, and bulls are cool. It's like apparently I didn't look at my face or head at all. I was just like, yeah, bulls.
Bull cut.
That's what I look like. I'm a bull.
That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
I'm the dumbest child.
A bull cut would be like 2 big hair horns.
Oh yeah,
Come on, guys.
hair horns.
We didn't start the fire. Okay. Yes, we did. You caught me. Yes, we did.
Arrest me. Like he wants to be arrested.
We didn't start the police station fire. Yes, we did. You shouldn't have brought me to the police station.
I hope we're recording. Are we recording this? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey.
It's as soon as I found out we were recording, that's when all like joy and energy in the room gets sucked out.
What do we do? Oh, I gotta be funny now. No. Okay. No. Okay, topical. The Oscars. Oscars. That sounds like
Yeah, dude, Oscars.
boxers and wieners, butts, boxers,
You know what's
underwear.
funny? I saw a headline that said like Oscars has record nominees of black people or something. Like the most nominees that have ever been black is this year, and it is 6 people. There are 6 of
Is that
them.
true?
No, but there's also that's in acting, right?
Right.
Because then we also and like there's apparently like editor of Moonlight is the first black woman to ever be edited in that category, and like because every screenwriting category now, like because of Moonlight or whatever, like there's always
I mean, obviously that's very important. That's important to people like us, but it's like the front-facing people.
Sure.
There are 6 of them out of all of the people.
That's
and it's
crazy.
Like, I guess. And both of them are in, or 3 of them are in like very black movies. Like they're movies about like the black experience. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Who the fuck am I to speak on that? But like, whatever.
Well, I mean, I suppose the interesting one is supporting actress, right? Where there's literally more women of color than white women.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
3 of the 5 nominees.
I barely looked at the nominations.
Yeah.
I
don't really. I cared less and less about the Oscars every year. It is just, it's like an insular thing. I mean, La La Land is likely to sweep. Dude, what if it beats Titanic? What if it actually beats Titanic? La La Land.
Yeah, that's a little bonko. But then honestly, my thought every time, I feel sympathy for Damien Chazelle. And I know that sounds stupid because I shouldn't, because he's doing amazing. But I immediately feel, because it's that thing, especially now, as soon as you do very well, everybody hates you or like or questions what you did. And again, it's that thing where it's like he just started this with this I just want to make a fun little musical, and now it's like best picture nominee, the most Oscar nominations everywhere, and he's like wait,
dude, that's exactly it. Like, I'm sure he knows that he's not at his peak at a filmmaker, right? I'm sure he knows that he's not quite there yet.
Why
so
would
he's
he
probably
ever
like,
feel that way
please stop, guys, please. I know it's a good movie, but please don't put this on me. The Jerry Seinfeld that we talked about last week is exactly that, where it's just like, but I don't know how he feels. He might be, fucking hot tub made of gold with liquid gold in it.
he's sitting back and being like,
Injected into my veins.
Yes.
do I deserve
gold.
14 Oscars? I believe I do.
Well, I need to melt something down to refill my gold hot tub. Welcome to Reasonable Beef.
Hey.
Everybody, we're joined in the room by, who's back?
Tim H.
See, you could have been anyone, and you chose to be yourself.
I thought you were gonna say a ghost.
I'm proudly me.
He's proudly Tim H. And who else is here?
Age. Hey, what's up? It's me.
It's Dom. Dom's always here.
Dono.
And we have Nick, who's our audio guy. Yell from the background.
Hi guys.
Yeah. If this sounds markedly better, it's because we have someone who actually knows what the fuck they're doing.
Gonna sound
We have a
in the
professional.
room.
Yes.
There's a professional sound man in this room.
He's got a beanie on and a hoodie at the same time. That's how you know he works like behind the scenes.
He's a great.
That's how you know he's good at it.
And so as our first professionally recorded episode,
that was I was completely
Tim and I went exactly to the same place.
No, of course, the same thing. Like we ever said, if we could ever afford a harness, the first thing we're doing is filming someone busting ass and then launching into the atmosphere.
Yes, absolutely.
Like 100%.
And the Thanksgiving dinner where we get several harnesses and have the old grandmother at
bends over.
She's serving the turkey. She bends over and blasts every member of the family.
It all hits the wall.
Yeah, through
people
the window.
Included. Incredible.
Right. All the stuff. What are we doing here?
Defenders of the Rotten, Part 2, motherfuckers! Woo! It's the Rotten Tomatoes game, aka Defenders of the Rotten, Puller Downers of the Fresh, aka I don't know, we had a better name for it, but that's what it is right now.
Destroyer.
I like
Destroyers of the Rotten.
No, of the Fresh. Destroyers.
Let's just call it Pokemon.
Yes. A completely just like a nonsense word that no one could ever give a shit on. This game is called Pokemon.
Yeah.
So you know the rules of the game. Everybody gets 2 movies. Basically, a movie that's rated high on Rotten Tomatoes that you disagree with, and a movie that's rated low on Rotten Tomatoes that you disagree with, and you give it Y and a modifier, maybe plus 20%, minus 30%. You get the idea. We're gonna start with pulling downers.
Downers.
Right. So good movies.
Right.
Is that what we did last? Who gives a fuck? So movies that are considered good that we don't love. I'm gonna start with our lovely guest / constant third chair / good friend and confidant, Tim H.
/ Centaur. I don't know if you've ever noticed that you never see Tim H from the waist down in any of his film, and anytime you do, that's ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, working there.
We used to record this in a big room with a wooden floor, but the clops just they picked up real bad. He can't stand still.
Andy Serkis does the mocap for Tim H's
real life.
Sorry.
Yeah, all good. He's been sitting there waiting.
No, it's funny. Now I'm trying to decide which one I want to say because I had a few options.
You did have a few options.
Well, because I don't know how controversial I want to be on this episode.
Okay, do it the one that most people would have seen, and then at the end we'll touch on other stuff.
This game is basically contrarian the game.
Yeah.
Sure. So,
well, I mean, okay. So I'll my main pick will be Les Mis. Les Miserables. I know there is a already existing counterculture to this group, because I think it got a bunch of acclaim back when it came out about 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it has something like 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it did get a bunch of it did get some Oscars, or at least got nominated. I mean, Anne Hathaway won, I want to say.
Is that true?
I'm not sure. We can look it up.
I do know that it was a pretty highly lauded movie for a movie that, by all accounts, was not a very great adaptation of Les Mis.
Yeah. And it's funny because I feel like I can now even more solidify this point, as over Christmas I finally saw the stage performance in London.
Okay, cool.
So now it's no longer coming from the movie didn't work, I have no appreciation for the story in general. It was more just the movie is really
so
bad.
What is it exactly about the movie? Because I'm not super familiar with Les Mis. I mean, I know Empty Chairs and Empty Tables. I know Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
Jean Valjean.
Do you know what's interesting though is
is that character's name?
I would actually maintain that the story problems that I experienced in the movie, I actually found the same story problems in the play. The difference was, however, that the stage performance, because it is happening live in front of you, and the staging is so impressive that you can't help but be impressed by the performance that's happening in front of you. Whereas I think in a movie, I struggled just with, I need better plot progression. I mean, and I don't know how much of this, people will say the Victor Hugo book, or people will point to things. Yeah. But I think as a film, I would argue it's it almost doesn't work on any level for me, because there's genuinely I know it's called Les Mis, but the fact that the tone is down the whole time doesn't allow me to get invested in a single moment, because you start with, Hugh Jackman, he stole a loaf of bread, and now he's been imprisoned for hundreds and hundreds of years, and he escapes. Oh, wow. But then we cut to...
Wait, did you just say he's been imprisoned for hundreds?
Yeah. I'm exaggerating, but, it's
I was I missed the part.
Not of the Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh, wait, it's the Wolverine. No, but, he's had this, horrible thing where he's had to do all this work. I mean, and then what we do is we skip... we skip the moment where we jump ahead a bunch of years and he's become the mayor of a town and he's completely changed his life around.
Wait, is that true?
Yes, in the movie. Yeah, like we because he like
you could say anything. Well, literally anything. Well, like he comes out 3 arms now. 3 arms. This guy.
3 arms out of the prison.
No, but the thing that and then basically what happens, Russell Crowe
looks out a window very forlornly.
Yes, he does, iconically. And it's funny because and then we when we jump forward to him and now he's the mayor of this town.
Sorry, I'm farting. Please go on. Yeah.
It's the fact that when we jump forward and then the new tension is supposed to be, look, Russell Crowe, who, knew him when he was imprisoned, could now know his secret, know that he was able to turn his life around and start a new identity and become the mayor of this town. Mm-hmm. But because the movie does not spend any time showing him build his way up to become mayor of the town, we are straight back down to tension, awful things. His life could be ruined again. And this is the experience of the entire movie. Like, I know that there's, from an acting point of view, I suppose it's quite rich because every scene, there's a lot of like layers, an implied backstory. But because it tonally does not like invest me in them because it is consistently miserable, it is consistently down.
Le miserable.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then it's funny because every element, like when they kill off this kid and it's meant to be like a moment, and I go,
good.
Yeah.
Less screen time.
Kill him. No, but I sort of go, oh, you're doing the thing where you kill the kid and I'm supposed to go, oh, innocence.
Sure.
Like
lost.
Yeah, and it's funny because like stuff like that, in some movies it can work and there are filmmakers who do it really well, but everything about Les Mis, every decision feels self-important.
Well, you brought up an interesting point earlier where you said, you see the stage show and it works better because it's the stage show. I think it was a guy, Bertolt Brecht or whatever, does the... I think
bless you.
Well, the German translates to like overwhelming theater, where like that's the concept of it. Like just hit them with all this sensory shit, and they can't help but be completely invested in it.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And plus, I believe the stage show is 3.5 hours long or something like that, right? It's significantly longer than the film.
Long. Yeah,
but you just have more time to see shit.
It's even the book to movie translation where it's like you always hit that wall where it's like, dude, a movie needs a different thing. Yeah. You can't do what the book did through and
it's
through.
Funny because I don't even struggle as badly with some of the things people point to, like I think the recording it live was fine. Mm-hmm. I think some of them don't sound good. Yeah. Which I suppose
this is interesting.
Is like one of the issues where, because I know people said similar things about La La Land, like, the actors the best singers, but in La La Land I was like, well, they're all holding a tune and they've smartly chosen each song and dance number to match what their performers can do.
Right.
Like they didn't give Ryan Gosling something insane to do on a singing level, so hence he.
But also, what's good singing? Like to me, like that baffled me with La La Land too, because I actively despise what is musical theater singing.
Nothing against Idina Menzel, but that I don't, kind of singing.
But at least even her, though, she has I can tell her voice apart. I know who I can hear her voice singing it, right? But there's something about, especially in men, especially in young men, less in like older men who sing Broadway, but in the new young man standard of like what Broadway singing is, it kind of was I was like, wait, Ryan Gosling is like, he's singing fine. Yeah. He sounds like his voice doing different things.
And being in tune.
Doing notes of a song.
Well, and that's...
So singing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, it's not even, Anne Hathaway's performance is very good. Like, but I think...
Did you know they shot that all in one take? And
but genuinely, like, something that's nice about, again, to make the comparison, just because we've had two musicals, I suppose, is La La Land. I like that, you'll be watching the movie and you'll go, oh man, they've been doing this all in one take. It's but there's a sort of, I know it is showy, but there's still like a flow to it that sort of feels like it's earned in the movie, like especially the A Lovely Night scene. It takes you a while to realize that they haven't cut because they're making it quite seamless.
I agree. I don't think it wasn't drawing attention.
Yeah, whereas, and I remember with Les Mis, before the movie, and I will distinguish this as the marketing campaign for the movie. The press interviews all mentioned they performed everything live on set.
Yeah.
And a lot of like one take, like sort of that. And I'm going, if you're giving me, this should be something that I notice after the movie.
Absolutely.
And I go, oh, that's really cool. It sounded different. Oh man, they recorded everything live. That's really cool. As opposed to you telling me ahead of time, my movie's really impressive.
It almost seems like a warning in a way where it's like, hey guys,
okay,
so recorded it live. Okay, so truncated. Give me your Rotten Tomatoes summary,
right?
Like about a sentence or two, and your modifier.
Right. So if it lies at approximately 70, I should make sure that I know this exactly.
Okay. Hey Dom, how you been?
Hey, I've been great.
That's good to hear. Hey, Tim is checking his phone right now.
Is that true? You know what they say about, Tim's checking their phones?
What do they say?
Well, who's to say?
They, like you just told me they did.
Right, I know, but I'm saying, but they don't.
It comfortably sits at 69%.
Okay,
and
nice.
I want to see it rotten. I want to see. I don't want to see it like all the way down.
See it rotten.
But I genuinely think it doesn't function as a movie by itself well enough to the point that it should be like in the 50s. Like,
give me an exact.
Do you know what's
55.
interesting?
55. Drop it 14.
And not to even
14 points.
Not to contrarian your contrarian opinion. I only heard people dislike it, and that was probably just maybe our circle, our bubble of people.
Yeah.
But I never heard like people saying that they loved it or anything. And I remember even
it felt more like, and I genuinely think it feels like one of those. Prestige pieces made by the guy who made the King's
movie, quote unquote.
Made by the guy who did the King's Speech, and like it's based on a Victor Hugo book and an iconic play, and hence it is good. And that's why the reviewers can sort of talk about the history when they talk about it, and I go, it's a weird movie. That's not why it's a good movie.
It's like, yeah, you're a reviewer. You review the film, right? Yeah. Like not the story.
Yeah.
Is not.
You don't get to pat yourself on the back for being very cultured.
Right. All right.
So I think that's what it comes down to. It's like, and I think the Oscar noms confirm this to me. It's like I can't think of people beyond like massive fans of Les Mis who actually champion it as a good movie. And then I know tons of Les Mis fans who love the stage performance who don't think it lives up to it. So again, I jump to this thing where I'm going, the Oscar nominations plus it being that well reviewed feels like this is a sentiment where I go, yeah, it's the elite saying, absolutely, this is good.
It's an example of Hollywood, like a pointable example of Hollywood bullshit, where it's like, hey, this is it. This is the thing that I don't like about this town. All right, well, let's move on from.
So yeah, that's why I think it should be rotten.
Yes.
Like it's allowed to be divisive. You're allowed, like that's why I'd put it in the 50s. I'm not saying it's like an incompetent piece of filmmaking, but
I think you literally did say that. Like it doesn't work as a movie.
Yeah,
but hey, whatever. All right. That's your opinion. Moving on, Damo. What's a good movie that you think is fucking ballsack?
Strap in, motherfuckers, because was that from 2014? Rock your goddamn skulls.
Oh man.
So I'm gonna take down Arrival.
Arrival.
The Amy Adams.
Oh, okay.
Aliens in the Attic. Okay.
Who directed that one? Do we know?
Sicario.
Denis Villeneuve.
Oh yes, Johnny Sicario.
Now this is again a case of I'm gonna say first, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's a bad movie, but to see it resting at one of like the highest like
rated movies of
the entire year. That's bonkers. It
was number 2 on Rotten Tomatoes, highest rated movies of 2016.
I'm gonna just be specific. People have talked about the movie. If you've seen it, you know the twists and everything. I'm gonna spoil stuff. So if you haven't seen it, strap in, motherfuckers, because I'm about to rock your goddamn skulls. I dislike. So the big twist is the time thing, right at the end of the. Is everybody okay? I know Tim, you can close your ears if you want, man.
Please don't tell them that. I'm gonna bullshit like I've seen it this whole time.
Well, it's too late now.
Okay,
Nick, you got to cut this out. The twist of the movie is that the aliens have messed with her head, and now she. Not in a positive way, and now she experiences time differently. Now, in the beginning of the movie, I am a fucking sucker for plot twists and for, well, thank you, Tim.
He's a fucking loser.
I am an idiot, and I smell bad, and I will never be happy. But, however, in the beginning of the movie, it opens. I can't remember if it opens with I think the daughter dying or something, right? It opens in a way where it's like something that's in the end, and then we cut, and we're supposed to believe it's after what we just saw in the beginning. I think it's the daughter dying. I think it's her.
Yeah, right. As a kid,
and it's but there's voiceover, and she literally says something along the lines of like, I don't think time happens in a straight line anymore. Like, she says something that clear.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a sucker, but I was sitting there 5 minutes into the movie going, the end of this movie is going to be before what we just saw. We're going to somehow get back to there. And then I was like, they talk about the dad, and I was like, well, it's going to be Jeremy Renner. And I know that's not like a reason to dislike a movie, but like, to me, that just does, like, I don't know. That really messes it up.
Like,
for me.
I definitely called it before a lot of people did. Apparently, and I called it later than you. I didn't catch it as early as you did, but I do remember. Like, there's a very obvious moment where people were still not sure, and it's the moment when it's something like, oh, your dad's the scientist.
Yeah, and you're like, well, and who's the only other
scientist
man
we've
in
met?
this?
Exactly. Right. Yeah, and I went like, okay, now I know. And then the
yes,
like the movie does the moment, and then there's still a lot of people were like, and I was like,
no, dude, I was waiting. I was waiting the whole time. Okay, but that's fair enough. Now,
I just want to make a point on that. You really need to draw the line on that, because there's some people who like predict what happens in a movie. It's like, yeah, great, good for you. You watch the film and you've put it together. Like, shut up. Like, I'm trying to watch the movie.
Right.
We all have those.
But it wasn't.
Then
like,
there's other times when it's like, oh, this is a flaw. Like, there's.
Yeah, I thought that was.
You're telegraphing what's going to happen.
And maybe. I mean, apparently it got away with it for a lot of people. But regardless, my probably biggest beef with it, and the reason I think that it doesn't work as well as it's like coming off. For one, the villain, like the guy who's like the soldier who ends up sabotaging the whole situation and tries to like blow up the ship and everything, and then cause that was, first of all, not only you saw it coming, but then even when it happened, you were like, wow, we didn't really build up to that at all. And like, how did those guys get up there? It's an alien spaceship.
Sure.
How did they just do it when they wanted to? Anyway, but the biggest beef was that the whole point of the movie is we don't know how to communicate with them. That is the number one thing, is now we've met aliens, but they communicate insanely differently than we do. We're never going to be able to do their voices. How do we teach them English, and how do they teach us what the fuck do you do? Where do you start? So you're thinking, ooh, I'm strapped in for this like kind of linguistic adventure, right?
Exactly. Like a psychological, like more thoughtful.
And it does that for a while, which is why I was very on board. Even though I saw the twist coming, I was still for about the first 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes on board. And then it skips time, and then they can communicate with them pretty well.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? And then it's all but they were still pretending like they didn't understand them. But I was like, dude, you're holding up full sentences that they respond to and that clearly you understand, and they know your name. And then like later in the thing, she's communicating perfectly with like, I was like, why did we just skip over the best thing you were doing? I just felt like it was cheap. It was like, wait a second, now all of a sudden they're the best at it. The problem of the movie.
Sure. How was the performances?
Fine.
Like, just fine? Like, Amy Adams isn't like,
no,
kill it? No.
Well, I have a weird. I mean,
what are the critics saying about this? Did you get a
smart
taste?
And that it's tight, and that is she not nominated?
She's not nominated, but yeah.
But everybody thinks that she should be.
Yeah. A lot of people,
I don't think she was bad.
No, I agree. I mean, it's funny. I sit on a lot of what you're saying, and I think I liked it maybe a hit more than you did, but at the same time, I'm not disagreeing. Like, I do think that movie is, again, a movie where like a lot of people have been like. And I don't know if this is always the curse. It's because with La La Land, I'm in the team that did like it.
Yeah.
And maybe this what we're describing now is how people feel who thought La La Land was good but don't like it as much as everyone else is saying. It's this strange thing where Arrival was one of those movies where I was like, for a movie that's pretending to be really smart about how this would go down if it really went down. They're still very happy to portray like the Chinese as the warmongers and not the Americans.
Right. And then,
like, you know, like, and I'm not saying, I know they twisted a little bit at the end, and I'm not going to pretend that isn't a thing, but they were still very happy to be like, yeah, it's the Chinese who would be quick to fire the nukes.
And I'm like, very cheap as well. Like, I thought it was fun because then they start to like. It came around where at the end of it, I'm like, oh, this is interesting now because she is experiencing time sort of all like Dr. Manhattan-y. Mm-hmm. So she is experiencing her in the future having already solved the crisis, talking with the Chinese leader. And he's like, or she says like, I don't remember how it comes up, but basically he's like, you need to know my phone number. And here is my home. This is my phone number. And this is how you're going to be able to contact me. And I don't remember because I guess he was in contact with them too. So he was experiencing time the same way. And so then they're like passing information through timelines. And that sounds very like neat, but it sort of played cheap. Mm-hmm. And I kind of remember people laughing in the movie.
No, I laughed big time at the line where he goes, I will never forget what you told me. And you sort of sit there going, and now she's going to say what it, right. Like there were things like that I agree. And here's another thing that I know this is a weird criticism because any instinct I have as a filmmaker aligns with what they did, which is that you make a big sci-fi movie with a big high concept.
Concept.
Yeah. What did you just do?
Big ass budget, but it came out big ass butt, which I'm just gonna leave it there. Actually,
but you know, so great, we've got this massive hook. Why are they here? But the movie's ultimately about characters, and it's about Amy Adams' journey. And so it's one of those funny things where I go,
excuse it.
Well, that instinct is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Having said that, when you mentioned that the aliens were there to give us this gift because the aliens are like, we'll need you in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
I was like, why do they need us? Like, and I did leave the movie going, what's the big thing? Like and it's strange because I'm going, yep, your instincts are correct. It's Amy Adams' journey is more important, but what is this mind-bogglingly important thing that they've come like all this way?
Altered the timeline and because they need the humans' help.
And I know it's strange, but I'm being that person who walks out of it and goes, yeah, it was nice, that little point they made about like the memories, like it, even if you know something's going to happen, should you still do it? Kind of thing. But what's the thing? Like, I'm genuinely thinking that as I leave the movie.
Yeah, skip forward 1,000 years. Like, can you get us some milk?
Yeah. What's this intergalactic disaster that the movie is basically promulgating?
And so it's like that stuff. Again, it does hit in theme of time being like not happening in a straight line, and she knows, but she still wants and then you find out that the whole time we've seen her with the daughter, she knew. Mm-hmm. So every flashback we saw her with the kid, she knew the kid was gonna die, but was still happy and like blah blah blah. And like I love that was what ripped the marriage apart because he told her and then he couldn't be there. Like I like all that, right? But I don't know, like it was a little...
Yeah.
You play by your own rules. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Why are you ever allowed to be angry at a movie or feel disappointed? And it's because it tells you, it sells you on what it's up to every step of the way. And then if you feel like it's not being what it's telling you it is, you get offended. You know what I mean? It's why it's something I can see something like Monster Trucks and be like, as far as like what I was told Monster Trucks was going to be, and then what happened, I wasn't very disappointed.
Yeah.
Like
that, you know what I mean? Perfectly. I
got what I wanted.
And that's what was in the
Arrival
movie.
Again. It's hype. I know hype is a dangerous fucking monster, and you got to steer clear of it. But like, then even in the movie, when you can tell when a movie's taking itself very seriously, and then it cheats, you're like, man, I don't know if I can forgive that. So this is not, in my opinion, it shouldn't be a best picture.
All right, what's the summary and what's your modifier?
It has very smart ideas and is smart for a while, and then sort of collapses upon itself and goes. It takes some easy ways to get to where they need to get to, for the sake of the character journey.
That would be a hell of a Rotten Tomatoes header. But I appreciate the effort.
Well, he did a whole paragraph. Cut me a break.
Okay.
No, and honestly, like what was funny was like, I have such strong feelings about this that I don't think I communicated like my points while I was literally just like, as I was thinking about it, I was like,
it's hard. I hate the movie. This is a hard one. When we did this last time too.
Next time, let's open with good. I think defending rotten. I think that works. I think it just helps us get in a mood. But we'll move on to what's your modifier? I'm sorry.
So this is like I think a 94 right now. I don't know, baby boys. This is like a 65.
Okay.
I do feel bad even bringing it past because I know I'd
probably put it at 70 or like at its highest 80 sort of, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like, God yeah. Like, and then because you see that and it's like this is weird because even the Rotten Tomato score has become this bizarre almost like metaphor that you see now, and it's like I don't take it literally, but I know what I know what to take away from when I see that something has a 70 or when I see like, do you kind of know what I mean?
No, I agree, and also it is strange thinking about, because you think about percentages on Rotten Tomatoes in general, and you think to yourself, it is strange because you know how a crowd-pleasing movie like Civil War winds up at 95 because
it's either a yes or a no.
Well, exactly, and the whole like, well, if they give it more than a 6 on 10, it's going to be fresh. And Civil War is, in my opinion, too good of a mainstream blockbuster that I think you're being a little harsh if you give it a 5. Sure. So like, but maybe a lot of people gave it a 6 out of 10, and then that makes it,
which is actually fair.
Which then makes it like
true
90. But I plot system, of course. Which I do think is why sometimes you wind up with like general movies that like a lot of people liked, and then they wind up super high.
Sure.
Yeah. I just didn't. I took offense because I don't think it was quite as smart, and maybe it's not even the movie's fault. Maybe this was something people ran away with, and it became this thing where people love to love it. Because it seems smart, but I don't know. It's just
I've heard that guy Dennis Villeneuve, the guy directed it. He's Canadian. He's been described French Canadian. Been described as like slightly smarter Nolan, which I feel like is kind of an accurate label, just like but only slightly. So I've always thought of Nolan's movies as like I like Christopher Nolan, but like there's a certain subset of people who watch Nolan's movies and think that they're just very smart for watching, like and for getting Inception. It's like, hey, come on, dude. It's like there was literally a city exploding and folding in itself. This is not
to imply that what impressed me about Inception was that it
it's kind of simple
that anyone can get it.
We should stay on track. I'm sorry, guys. We got to move on to the next one because we have to go through all the goods too.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna go through the bad. Mine.
Go ahead.
Boy, mine was Jungle Book.
Oh boy.
The Jungle Book 2016, the one that just came out this past year, Jon Favreau. It's currently sitting at a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Howdy.
This was a remake of, I guess, the story, or just that's the weirdest part for me. So I'm going to start right off the back. This is clearly Disney's Jungle Book. This is not an adaptation of Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book.
Adaptation of the cartoon.
Yes, this is an adaptation of the cartoon The Jungle Book, right? My first issue with it is a very dark movie, like colorful wise. I feel like everything is a little bit more is like grayish from my recollection, and I don't know, it just didn't really pop for me like the cartoon it's based on, and that's like a lot of it for me. Was that not the fact that this is an adaptation of The Jungle Book? It's that it's clearly trying to be an adaptation of Disney's The Jungle Book, and they do stuff like they keep all the musical numbers in, but remove all of the blocking and dancing, like of all the motion and all like the King Louis one where played by Christopher Walken plays a giant monkey. Hilarious, the role he was born for. But he sings that song, I Want to Be Like You, just like eking it out, and it's Chris. You be do like. I can't do Christopher Walken. Sorry.
I'm sorry. What was that, Christopher Walken?
You be do. Yes, Christopher Walken. That's how he sounds, but not moving at all. Like this monkey is totally static.
Walk like you.
Exactly. I want to walk like you. I want to. Damn it, dude! I can't do Walken anymore. Wow. But yeah,
it's all right. The world's gonna be fine. Trust me. We don't need more dudes.
No more Walkens
who can do Christopher Walken.
See, Cosby used to be one. Now no one can do it anymore.
Yeah, well, you're not living up to the joke if you don't make it a little like racy now. Now it's like if you're gonna do Cosby, you got to be a little creepy about it.
drugs.
Yeah, you didn't even want to go there, right? It's everyone feels real uncomfortable.
Oh, no, yeah, I wanted to go right for the R word.
Wasn't that Amy Poehler and like didn't they do they were on stage doing they actually did a joke like that?
Oh, I'm sure they have.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's been done.
Like I put the drugs in the people.
Yeah. Well, just as an aside, like the thing that popped that whole thing off, Hannibal Buress did a set and he talked about like Bill Cosby talking about pull your pants up. It's like, well, that dude raped people. Like, look into it.
Yeah.
That he raped people. And then like that set it off. It's just a video that someone recorded of Hannibal Buress like took apart Bill Cosby's career. Well, I mean, raping women took apart his career.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But it really shone in the spotlight. That's just crazy. Okay. The Jungle Book.
The Jungle Book, baby.
Wasn't that a movie we were talking about?
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, so like just to do that and to remove the blocking and remove the dancing and the motion and the joy to it, it just didn't hit for me. I remember enjoying it in the theaters, and as I was really sitting on it, I'm just like, that is like a bonkers thing to do. Like for instance, like it doesn't feel like a journey. I guess that's a fault in the story though, because the Jungle Book is literally like a series of episodes about this kid. But I don't know. I feel like when you're doing the movie, you make it more of a journey. It definitely felt like individual episodes, and then we reached the end. You know what I mean? I disagree.
I'll defend this. This will be fun because that's one of those ones where it's like, I mean, I think it was really good. I think it was really sweet and cute, and I like the kid, and I like the story. I felt like it felt cohesive. I felt like we were watching this kid take a journey through the jungle and like learn and blah blah blah. But
okay.
I don't know. I mean, I remember leaving it and you didn't love it.
I was like, okay, so reading over what the critics have said about this, they talk about the CGI.
Yeah, right.
And the visuals, which I think is a bad thing to predicate your positive review of a movie on, because it's like that's something that will wear in 10 years. Like the CG won't look as good in 10 years. It just won't.
Sure.
And then at that point, it's like, is the meat of the movie enough to support that 95? It's at a 95. Like, and I don't think it is. I think once the visual spectacularization of the film like wears off on you, it's just like, oh, that was just kind of like whatever. I mean, the kid was great. That was, you gotta praise child actors that are actually decent.
I mean, what's the goal behind remaking any of those movies anyway? Right?
Money.
Like that. Yes.
Yes. I mean, any movie.
And introducing, like, setting up a bunch of new kids to be obsessed with these same stories, right?
Right.
And I do think to myself, and I agree that this might not be the best like line of thought about it anyway, because it's kind of like exactly what they hope people will say. But there is a part of me that goes, if you as a kid are experiencing the Jungle Book for the first time and it looks like that, like that must be insane.
Yeah,
must be amazing.
Probably.
Like as an adult, I agree. It's very hard not to watch it and go, oh, that's Christopher Walken, and sort of Murray as
ScarJo in it for maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, and just sort of, oh, and that's Ben Kingsley, or and you sort of, and you're not seeing King Louis. Like you're thinking, like this is amazing.
Christopher Walken if he was like an 18-foot monkey.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah,
and it kind of looks like him too.
It's also it's the playing by their own rules thing, which is why I would defend it like
it plays by its own rules.
So if it's not a 95, then what is it to you?
I think it's like a 72. It's like a 72 movie.
Right.
I drop it by about like 32 points. Just because. Whoa!
Sorry.
How did that happen?
No.
That might have been me. Sorry.
God damn it, Tim.
It's like a 72. Just
haven't done anything in a while.
He's trying to knock my shit over.
Just like a cat. Like you haven't looked at me in like 10 seconds. But yeah, so I think it's lower just because the meat of the movie is not awful. I just don't think it's that amazing of a movie, and it's just like visually, I mean, yeah, it looks good by virtue of being like a high budget studio movie. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, yeah, there was clearly thought put into this. I don't know how much I'm going to love this or want to go back to.
But you didn't like love Baloo and...
Not really. I mean, yeah, Bill Murray's Baloo is fine, I guess.
But I mean, like the relationship, him and the
sure, but like, and that relationship,
Mogwai.
Is fun. Yeah, Mowgli.
Yeah, Mogwai.
Like that relationship is
Don't
fun.
feed him after dark.
Yeah, right. Yes, Mogwai. Yeah, no, it just didn't gel with me in a way that I feel like a lot of people were just raving about it, which is primarily the visuals, and I didn't love the music, and I didn't love the way they handled the.
That's
the
a big. I
numbers.
can understand that gripe for sure.
Yeah,
because I agree. I mean, it was like they were fine, and I get it because they were trying to be like
it could
normal, like it was trying to make it feel grounded or whatever. But
I agree.
But you almost sort of wanted
decide.
them.
Yeah, it couldn't quite decide because it was like, oh, they are singing it as they float down the river,
right? But
like. But then King Louis' one was an all-out song,
right.
So it was a little bit like, okay, you're trying to do both.
Yeah, some of them are truncated, like some of them are shorter versions of the songs, like the snake, whatever Scarlett Johansson is the snake.
Yeah, well, they like cut her song basically completely.
Yes, and it actually played. Yeah, they did cut her song, and it plays in the credits instead. It's not actually in the movie. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Because it's true. Then what are we looking for? I mean, it's even Disney's interesting because they're even Cinderella, or
did they cut them from Cinderella?
There's no songs in Cinderella,
right?
There's no, and even the score doesn't hint at the songs of Cinderella.
Yeah,
it's very. It's like what a weird choice. And I think they're doing the Mulan one.
Yeah, and they're doing Beauty and the Beast as well. Yeah. And in Beauty and the Beast, they are singing.
They're doing they're doing cartoon adaptation.
Yes,
but like Cinderella didn't do it. And then was there another one? Am I forgetting one?
No,
that was another live action
Pete's Dragon, but there's no songs in that one.
Pete's Dragon.
Well, right, but that's whatever. But the
that iconic Pete's Dragon song.
Yeah. Pete's Dragon. He's really big.
Go on.
He's got scales and he belongs to Pete.
Great.
It's Pete's Dragon. That's it. It's like an 80s.
I remember that. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And then the title comes up and like a sword goes through.
Dragon.
But and I don't think the Mulan one. I think they said that the Mulan one's going to be more based on like the Mulan myth.
It's not. It's like anytime they say that they're going to do that.
But Cinderella didn't. It was sort of based on the cartoon, but they were more like it kind of wasn't though. I don't know.
Cinderella.
Yeah, the Cinderella movie.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't based on the original fable, right? Like, no one's cutting off parts of their heel to jam it into the fucking
No, they
glass
do.
slipper, right? Really? Does that happen?
The girl at one point, one of the sisters cuts her toes off, or cuts a toe off,
I think
or
the one
starts to. I don't remember.
The second sister gets away with it, cuts a part of her foot off, and then when the prince is taking her back to the castle, she gets her eyes pecked out by crows.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
And the prince goes, "Well, I can't use this now," so he goes back for the other one.
I can't use this now.
Like, it's insanity. That whole fable. That's why you can't adapt those old fables, because they were written at a time when it's just like people weren't even viewed as people like back then.
Yeah, but I do agree. I agree that the song thing, the joyousness is kind of missing in it, and
yeah, I mean there was sequences in it that impressed me a lot.
Sure.
And then there would just so for instance, the running through the what is it, the high grass, like when
he's being chased by
the
Shere Khan. Shere Khan.
Yeah. Shere Khan.
Khan. When he was being chased by
the Star Wars villain Khan.
No, it's Star Trek villain Khan. What the fuck was his name? John Harrison. When he's being chased by John Harrison.
John Harrison.
Wasn't that the name of
the guy who played
Benedict
Khan?
Cumberbatch's character?
Well, and then they were calling him before it was like, oh wait, he's Khan.
Right.
And it changes nothing.
So John Harrison's chasing Mogwai through the grass.
Yes, John Harrison is chasing Mogwai through the grass. And then he has the Lion King scene where he and I remember being impressed by that visually. I found it quite
being impressed with the world of the movie. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking, oh, this is cool. They've created this whole real life set, like real life. When I say that, I mean they're just animals.
When the wolf mom, played by Lupita Nyong'o, wakes up and sees
who's the girl.
Yeah,
isn't that her?
Yeah, no, it is Lupita from Star Wars. It's a Star Wars reference.
Come on, guys! I'm just jumping all over.
No, but sometimes you guys do that. Okay,
when she wakes up and sees her little cub being taken care of by, Shere Khan, and he's like, oh, you see, like like talking about like the kind of bird that like eats their own.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat this guy.
Yeah, like it was, it was. So like that was scary. No, he wasn't terrifying to me the whole time, but I remember that little sequence being like, "Ooh, this is."
And I think he kills his adopted father right before, or maybe right after.
It's when he first gets there when he's looking for Mowgli.
Yeah,
and he does. My little brother talks about that. he brings that up randomly. He's like, that was just so intense. Like, and just, it's true when you're thinking about that from like as a kid watching this for the first time.
He tosses a main character off the cliff.
He bites his neck and throws him off, and I think you like see him hit a rock. Like,
something. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. It's like animalistic brutality. I don't know.
Anyway,
whatever.
Sorry, what were you gonna make fun of me for?
You always do that. Like, you'll cite a line from a movie, and it'll be like a nonchalant line, like, "Hey, when's dinner?" And you'll expect me to know what it's from.
Well, come on.
Like, who's the girl?
Yeah, who's the girl? Oh, that's a big line. Whatever.
Who's the girl?
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Okay. But yeah, so it's I would put it at about a 72.
So shit, we gotta be positive now.
All right, yeah, we're gonna kick that. Okay, so positive. What's a movie considered bad that you think is good? And what would you rate it?
Oh, I don't know if I picked one where I have a drastic enough opinion.
Just pick one.
Well, I got it.
What's your
American Ultra?
Okay.
And I know it's not super recent, but I was trying to pick something.
Give
me
a little
was
background. Who was in that?
So American Ultra is Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart.
Okay.
It was the Max Landis script, directed by the guy who did Project X. Now, this movie is sitting at, I think, a 43 right now. And I remember vividly. Now, I watched this just the other day because I remembered walking out, and I remember this for some reason being one of my breaking point movies with Rotten Tomatoes, where I walked out and I was like, I do not understand anymore. Or just critics and just the general like consensus about stuff. Every so often you see something where it completely makes you reevaluate your own opinions, and you start to get scared that you like shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And it was like, so I walked out and I knew it was getting bad reviews. I went anyway because it was like an original idea. It looked fun. It was an action movie. I wanted to support it. And I walked out thinking like, I liked it. I like genuinely I liked it. And I thought it was like weirdly fucking sweet. It had a really tender heart. The whole movie's just about him and the girlfriend, and both of them feeling like a fuck up, and like each one of them is like fucking the other one's life up.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, the whole thing is that he's a fucking secret agent and he gets Manchurian Candidate awakened, and all of a sudden he's the stoner who can like shoot a bullet off of a frying pan and hit the guy across the room. Like, it's very fun. But I think the problem was the movie was marketed like this bombastic, huge action movie, which it very much is not. It
definitely was, yeah.
It's not big. It's all set. It's set in like one little West Virginia town.
Right.
And so that's, to me, is like when you're telling people about this movie, like if now I was going to tell you to go and watch it, you've had a couple years where you don't remember the trailers anymore. You don't, the trailers and the marketing stuff ruins so much shit for that movie. So many punchlines that land. And even now, me remembering and being so aware of the marketing, I watched it the other day and stuff was making me laugh, and afterwards being like, oh, right. I'm glad I didn't see that coming.
Right.
So I think that, I don't know, it had something going against it. And I'm like, Max Landis is a hard person to not talk about like who they are as a person, because he is very present and he is very vocal and stuff. And I go back and forth between admiration and like just being annoyed. Yes. Not even fucking, just being like, God, come on, man. But I really like the movie. Mm-hmm. Like I after even watching it the other day and having gone in somewhat fresh, I'm like gonna watch it again probably not in a long time from now.
Can you compare it to what's like another movie? If I like that, I would like American Ultra.
That's hard. I'm really not sure because it is weird. It's
because
like
I'm
in
sure
concept.
I didn't like Project X.
Okay. So here's the thing: where people are on the mark with disliking it is as much as, and it is an action movie. You know, it is an action movie.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's big, but a lot of people don't like the action. Like. Really? And I agree, because until I think maybe the last fight of the movie, the action is shot very strangely. It's a weirdly directed movie. I think the music's not very good. The music was weird as fuck. Because what's weird is that in this movie, again, I can't stress enough, it's a sweet ass movie. The whole thing is you just open up, he's smoking weed all the time, she's smoking weed all the time. He works at this stupid little convenience store. He has all these great ideas for comic books, but he never actually writes them down. She's incredibly supportive. You open with this part where he's like, I want to surprise her. He's going to propose to her, we know. And he's going to surprise her with a trip to Hawaii. He surprises her. They get to the airport, but he has a panic attack in the bathroom in the airport and can't leave. And they have to just go home. And then like you get the fucking just that heaviness of like getting back to the apartment, and they have to unpack, and she opens the suitcase and sees her bathing suits. Aww. And it's so like, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
What the hell is this doing? And then it does the thing that I love. And then all of a sudden, at one point, he's like outside, and we zoom up in a satellite, and he's being watched by the United States government, and they're like, "Yeah, we got to take him out. He keeps trying to leave. we got to kill him because he's gonna get out. So you find out they've like, he was this super weapon. They've kept him in this small little town in West Virginia, and now they're like, he keeps trying to leave. Eventually he's gonna get away. Let's just kill him now. And Topher Grace is this snotty little bad guy who's like, you know, basically this privileged brat, and now all of a sudden he's gone power hungry with the fucking CIA or whatever. Okay. It's great. So, but do you hear what I'm saying? Like, do you hear all those things? But meanwhile, I think it was advertised as this like huge fucking broad comedy. But like, if
stoner action movie,
it's got like a $24 million budget on it too. I think it's not.
Yes,
it's not
huge, but not tiny. Yeah, but whatever. I mean, it's been, you know, his one before that was Chronicle was like 12 million, which isn't even that big.
Yeah,
but like, I mean, like, yeah, I think that if you saw this having been in like festivals and having been just this, it was in the independent section of the iTunes movie store.
Yeah.
And you were just hearing good things. Oh, it's cool. It's really weird and they're stoner and blah, blah, blah. I think you'd love it. I think you would be like surprised.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Did you see it, Tim?
I have not.
I haven't seen it.
Watch it. Truly watch it.
We really should start doing these in movies we've seen.
Yes.
We can like wait. I'm just like, yes, please describe the plot.
I'm sorry. I know I just went off on the plot, but I think that also is a testament to what I'm saying.
Yeah,
here.
no, like it
is
catches
that it's
you
like,
where it's just like, I love it.
It's sweet.
You say that idea to me and I love that idea already.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just such a, and that's one of those things where it's all in the execution. Like that could have easily, do you think it'll be a cult movie? Do you think it's a movie that like some people might really like?
Maybe not. And I think why is because, and again, this is where the criticism is justified, is in the direction is weird sometimes. And I think if it was a little more gory, if the action was a little more poppier and bonkers, people would have taken to it a little more.
Sure.
So but it's kind of bland sometimes, and it's kind of just, for me, it's moving on the momentum of its premise and of how does this unfold, and like, you know, he's been woken up and now his fucking powers are manifesting again, and he's remembering, he's like walking and he's like, do you know anything about tanks? I can name like 40 tanks right now. I've never learned about tanks. Why do I know that? And it's like funny.
That's really fun. I love that, and that seems like a kind of movie that you would make.
I mean, that's why I'm like identifying, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I see things I love.
What would you give it?
That movie's like a fucking 80, man. Like,
really?
Yeah, dude. It's again, it's when it plays by its own rules.
Right.
When you're playing by what this movie, it's so contained. Yeah. It knows what it was up to narratively. Mm-hmm. And again, direction is spotty a lot of the times, and you could maybe hang up on that completely, but like, I don't think so, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it plays by its own rules, and it's fucking weirdly sweet. It's cute. Weird sometimes. It's very. It's fun.
That's cool. Well, thank you. That. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
Do you have yours?
Yeah. I mean, because it's weird. I was conflicted between Defending Passengers, the most recent movie.
Okay. Which I always get confused with Arrival, by the way. I have not thought that they were different movies.
Arriving Passengers.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then the other one I have is Jurassic Park: The Lost World. And Jurassic Park: The Lost World is coming maybe from a place where,
let's pick one. Let's go Jurassic Park.
Yeah, like, because I think because here's why I won't pick Passengers. It probably still deserves to be rotten, maybe just not 30%. whereas I would take this and maybe just edge it to fresh, because it sits at about.
Whoa. Passengers is at a 30 right now.
Yeah, man.
That's insane.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
And it's got some big problems, but I think, you know.
Okay, so Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Give me Jurassic Park. Give me a bit of Jurassic Park.
Okay, so Jurassic, like, and here's honestly where I think it's coming from for me, because it currently sits at something like 55 or 56%.
The second one, by the way.
Yes, Jurassic Park: The Lost World.
The one that's not really played on TV that much.
Yep.
The one that people typically haven't seen.
The one that's a weird ass fucking movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So to speak. Go
Continue.
ahead.
Yes. I wouldn't mind edging it into like. Should I leave this for the end?
Yeah, leave us in suspense.
So, I suppose a lot of this is coming from the fact that Jurassic World is fresh, like is considered.
I see what you're saying.
Fresh.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I'm going, you know, the one that like actually still explored the like central theme of mankind's greed, and that they like went to the island and still had a like logical progression.
Yeah.
Of like, well, we could take some of them and bring them here, like sort of like that still made sense to me in the business logic.
Yes.
Like, mankind's greed, we're going to bring them over here.
Even just craft wise though too, you could there's no argument to be made for that. Like the action scenes and the scary scenes in Lost World are scarier and better composed.
Absolutely. Like, because if I point to that exactly, I would say the cliff scene when they're over the edge.
Yeah, dude.
And like that one always gives me chills. Like the moment when Julianne Moore is like on the glass.
On the glass. Yeah, that was the first time I ever saw that.
Or the scene when the T-Rex shows up in the tents and the guy has the snake in the waterfall, or and obviously the ending when the T-Rex is actually loose in the city. Like
Give us what we want.
I know that's where it got a little bit schlockier. It started getting to like, now we're just being very silly, which it absolutely delved into. But I think, and here's the thing people always bring up with this movie is, all right, the girl with gymnastics who kicks the raptor out of the window, to which I go,
that's bonkers.
It is silly. Yes. Yeah. And it's where you begin to see, Spielberg is my favorite filmmaker of all time, but it's where you begin to see the person who was okay with that is the same person who was okay with Indiana Jones being in a fridge.
I knew, the monkeys, the swinging with the monkeys.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah. There's sort of, oh, she does gymnastics, so she could totally kick a velociraptor out of a window. But I think I have more patience for it than other people do.
Yeah, but who cares? That's inherently cinematic. Like people doing things they cannot do.
Yeah.
Like you want to see the power. You want to see somebody fight back.
For instance, I've even heard people, I watched the CinemaSins video for it, and people have a lot of issues with this one. And
is this Spielberg's lowest rated film?
No.
Can't be.
Hook is also there's a lot of other ones that are
that's a whole different story.
But yeah, for instance, there's the beginning with the little girl with all the little ones, right? And then the mom runs up and sees that her daughter's being presumably attacked or eaten or picked apart, right? And she's about to scream, and then it hard cuts to Jeff Goldblum exhaling like a yawn, and it completes the scream, sort of in the same, just going a lot of people are like, oh, it's like whatever, and my reaction to that is like, no, that's funny. That's a very funny juxtaposition cut. Like
that scene is stuck in my head for so long, and I hate it. It's so
the little
mean to me. Yes, like that just as a bit is so mean to me. Like, let's kill a little girl.
But in 5 minutes, they say she's fine.
Oh. They get to so my child. I haven't seen this movie in 15 years. She's dead.
In my child brain, I know exactly what you mean.
Dead.
Yeah, but he gets up to Hammond's bedroom and he's like, "Oh, the girl's fine."
Yeah. Right.
Oh, the girl. Oh, no, we were told by the studio that we need to rewrite this and the girl's fine.
Yeah. People put test screenings didn't like it.
Yeah. The girl's fine.
Oh my gosh.
But so, go on.
No, I think I just point to that and I agree. There are successful suspenseful sequences. There are enough things in it that I like and that I can defend and that are in line with what the theme of the movie is about, sort of, mankind's greed and tampering with nature, but still feels like a progression that could work within the movie, that I ultimately think it has its problems, and I'm not gonna pretend that those aren't there, but I think it is way more worthy than people give it credit for, I think.
Yeah.
I also
that's what I'll say about
I think you can appreciate too, and it's maybe at the same time what the problem is, but it is very interesting because this will not happen, at least in the near future, where you have a sequel. And okay, we still have Jeff Goldblum, sure. So he's at least was still a character in the other one.
Yeah.
But now he's the main character. And you could argue it was because he was like maybe the favorite. He was the cool guy from the other one. So now he's the main character. But then we get a sequel to this gigantic loved movie with a bunch of new fucking people we don't know at all. We meet all these new people.
And some people will say that exactly what you just said is the problem. Like, he worked as a supporting character, but now that he has to carry it, we're sick of him.
And it's like the kids aren't in it again, and you would think that would be...
But the fact that World was such an success. It was that.
Hey.
But also because it was such a success, it's the dinosaurs. That's why people are going.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But I think that's where I sort of go to is and I didn't viscerally hate Jurassic World or anything, but I agree. I think about the suspense in Jurassic Park: The Lost World, and I think to myself, like, and yes, it has the benefit of nostalgia. I always want to, remind myself of that. Having said that, if it was worse, it would be forgettable. You'd remember the first one, and whereas there are sequences in it because of the good filmmaking. I remember that are burned into your brain and that you remember. And like, I don't see,
dude, the raptors in the grass.
Yeah,
you could absolutely fuse that with the first one. Like, that's so iconic to me.
I get those two movies. I get scenes constantly
with them jumping over, and like the main shot from that scene where you see the one raptor like launch over the grass and kill and get the guy, and like his flashlight, I think, or he fires his gun or something. You see it for like a second in the like being lit up. That shit is. Again, we're talking about it's a craft. They're a little bit more masterfully put together, and that was why at the end of Jurassic World, that was my big beef with it too. Was like I kind of felt like none of those sequences where they were like hiding from the dinosaurs or getting attacked and really stuck out. Like maybe the pterodactyl like flying one where it finally descended on the crowd and it was like picking people up in the air.
Yes, that's the scene that sticks.
Sure.
Yes. Well, pretty much the only scene that sticks out.
But it also happened to be like a very highly saturated like a marketing material. Like that scene, we saw that all the time. And also
in terms of like, because people give, it's funny because I don't know, this stuff always perhaps comes with as you sort of reflect on it and you get over the initial excitement of seeing these moments for the first time. Yeah. But if people are going to give the gymnastics kicking a raptor out of the window shit, but like be so okay with she got the T-Rex and made it fight the what the fuckasaurus, like
that makes me hopeful that a deft hand is still important and that like the images aren't what's important, because that final scene where you have literally raptors fighting a giant dinosaur beast and then another giant dinosaur beast comes out and they fight, and it could not be less memorable to me. Like I can't remember like exactly what happened.
All I remember is the raptor jumping up on the T-Rex and them fighting.
And I remember stupid little bits like the T-Rex after the Mosasaurus or whatever takes it into the water, and then there's this moment between the T-Rex and the raptor sort of like, all right, bro. Like we did, like they don't quite nod. But they nod and they walk their own way.
If they nodded, best movie there, easily.
Yeah, hands down, just an official movie. Like.
Yes,
we did it.
Do you want to get a beer or something? No, not even like an up nod, just like a man. I see.
Yeah, and actually, again, but I think the contrast is probably an important reason that I'm bringing this up. It's the fact that why are the kids there in this one? It's meant to be Bryce Dallas Howard becomes aware that maybe she cares about kids and doesn't just want to be a corporate. Yeah. And I get that that's the idea, but again, like Spielberg spends more time with like the family, like and sort of those characters feel more,
Well, it's also just like more contained. It's maybe. Because you could look at Lost World and be like, and it might just be a CGI thing for me. Maybe that's what it's really coming down to. But but it's also not. It's how it's shot. It's who these people are and the situations they're in. But like Lost World is basically how many different new situations can we get them into where the dinosaurs are scary, and it kind of worked. Like I still like there's a scene. I watched it as of the last 2 years. I hadn't seen it since probably I was like 13, and I saw it again in the last couple of years. Lost World, and I was like, holy shit! Like stuff was scaring me, and it was making me jump, and it was making me tense, and like they're gonna get away, like they're gonna do it, but it works. And then in like Jurassic World, like. I don't know, like just the situations and the fact that it did feel like a lot of the movie was like, how do we just get them into different situations where the dinosaurs are scary? Felt like the problem.
Right. Yeah. But and also Jurassic Park is one of the few franchises where I find myself genuinely sympathizing with how come these are more scary and look better.
Yeah.
Like, because
there's less.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. What are the big dinosaur scenes in the first one?
This is probably still even a compliment to the very first one, the first time we see that rain sequence in the very first Jurassic Park. Yes. But I think to myself, that's when I will understand that people look at the new ones and go, how come they can't get them to look as good as, like, because we're a recent example, I think I mentioned this on the talking about we did about it, but for Ghostbusters. That was a movie where I saw the original and went, no, you guys don't get to play they looked better in the 80s, like the Ghostbuster effects did not age.
Yes,
they
absolutely.
look awful. Whereas with Jurassic Park, there is something about like, wow, something's incredible about those movies.
That's a purely financial thing, because we're talking about like, okay, there is less. That's the key point, where it's just like, and you can't do Jurassic World with practical effects without spending untold amounts of money.
Right, as it is though.
Yes.
But the
you need to rewrite the whole thing.
The answer to that is spend 12 minutes with Chris Pratt under the car when the thing first gets out. Do you know what I'm saying? Sure. And then that's one of our big scenes of the dinosaur.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're just there, and that's it. And we don't need to see that it gets away, and we don't need to see that they're in the fucking woods and it's got camouflage and it comes flying out.
Right, but you need those considerations when you're writing the script. Like, that's why these movies are like this, is because they knew that, there's no CGI, like that doesn't exist. Well, they didn't know that something didn't exist, obviously. But they're we're not going to be able to go insane here. Let's play it close to the vest.
I get.
Whereas with Jurassic World, when you just sit down at a page and it's like, and then it picks up the fucking ball and it's got 16,000 spikes on it.
Yeah.
It's invisible for a couple seconds. Then
it never goes invisible again.
That's just like, and that's always kind of been my thing, where I talk about art within constraints, and I think the best art is art that's created within a constraint of we can do this.
Yes. We have gotten way too good at moving cameras around.
Right.
We should. It's become a problem.
Right.
At how well we can fucking fly a camera around a set.
Absolutely.
And I feel the same way. But it's why I don't really like Tintin or Beowulf or fucking Polar Express sometimes. Where it's like, these are directors who are used to having the camera way too much, and they can't move it. You can't make it fly around.
So now they
easily, right? And then they go bonkers. That's why you get like scenes in Tintin just don't land for me or whatever. It's because this is someone who's like, you mean I can put it through the sky? Avatar, even in some respects, James Cameron. These are the same generation of guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's an issue. And same thing, Jurassic World. Like, I don't know. We shouldn't be. We're too good at getting away with stuff.
We've gotten too much. Give me what's your modifier?
So if it lies at, I don't know exactly what it is, but if it lies at 55 rotten, I want to put it at like somewhere between 65 and 70.
Okay. Do you have any idea of what the first one is? Like where
80.
that's at? That's
80 or 90 or something.
Wow, is that true?
Like, I might be wrong, but
I feel like the first one's like, man, I'm thinking because of the year it came out. I was about to say it's like 91.
let me look up, because I want to make sure I'm getting it right. But
okay, we'll touch on it. We'll move on. We'll
all right, Tim.
Drop back.
So you gotta.
I was wrong. 93 for the first one.
All right.
What the fuck?
93, but
that makes sense to me.
51% for the second one.
Wow.
To which I go, come on.
Yeah,
Like, and 71% for Jurassic World. And then 50 for Jurassic Park 3, which I think does deserve.
That one's a little weird.
So like,
I'm gonna put this up for referendum. We should change the name of the show to "Come On." dot. Come on. Slanty face emoji.
You mean for when we do the defending ones?
Yeah.
That's
no, but even for the negative ones, it's just like, come on. It's not that. Okay, so we'll go to the last one. The last one. So we're of bad movies bring up good. I picked Van Helsing.
Oh boy, years in the making. This fucking argument, boy.
Okay, so Van Helsing came out in 2004.
Yes.
It's directed by, what's that guy's name? Steven Sommers?
Is it Steven Sommers?
Steven Sommers, like Sommers. Weirdly enough, directed Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book in 1994.
Wow.
So Van Helsing is sitting at. Can we take a not from you? Have you seen Van Helsing?
I know it.
yes, but a long time ago.
What is it? What's the Rotten Tomatoes score? Give me a guess. 20?
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing.
You're close. It's 23.
Oh, God. I thought it was like a 12.
No, it's 23. Dude, I think 23 is insanely low for this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just read some choice critic quotes. It's called a bloated CGI mess in the Rotten Tomatoes header.
Wow.
It was described as a repulsive video game / theme park. It was saying...
Sounds fucking sick.
That's what I'm saying. That's why this movie is fucking great. Somebody said that Steven Sommers is the best hack in the business. It's so true. This is the same dude. He directed The Mummy.
The Mummy Returns.
The Mummy and The Mummy Returns and The Scorpion King, which I think he screen wrote. And I think this is what he followed up The Mummy with, was this project in particular.
I think
so. He's done some... Oh, he did Odd Thomas most recently, I want to say. Yeah. This movie is insane. It's about a vampire slayer who is given like a job by the Vatican to go kill Count Dracula, and he gets there, and Dracula has like all of the universal monsters in his palace under his command. Right. Kate Beckinsale, who weirdly enough is in Underworld, playing also... No, she doesn't play vampire in this, but whatever. Kate Beckinsale and Huge Jacked Man.
Yes, the huge jacked man is Van Helsing.
How can you watch a movie like this and go, that was, I can't believe that they didn't explore like the thematic elements of, like, how do you watch this and not know exactly what this is that you're watching and judge it on that predication? Like, that's insane to me. It's like, it's all he literally has like a machine gun crossbow.
Yes.
In the first 10 minutes of this film. It's like, no shit, this is like a thrill ride, a video game. Yeah. Like, that's exactly what he's going for.
Coolest werewolves in recent history.
Yeah, it was very. I
love the werewolf design.
Best Frankenstein in recent. Frankenstein, frozen in a block of ice. I'm not a monster. Amazing, fucking stupid movie. But God, dude, it's not even stupid in a way that's like, it's stupid in a way that's brilliant. Steven Sommers, I feel the same way about him that I feel about Schumacher, where it's just like, go in, just watch the fucking movies. They're there to be movies, motherfucker.
Dude,
like
the
movies.
The Van Helsing scene in the beginning with Mr. Hyde.
Yeah,
that sticks out about so much to me. I think about that so frequently because the whole thing is like Now, I haven't seen... I might have had some arguments for you, but I haven't seen this in a very long time.
I've seen it, but...
I used to watch it a lot more in high school because me and you used to talk about how it was unfair that it was so low.
I remember there's a scene where he shoots his crossbow and then has to, like... go across these two, like, a really big distance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's what I... like.
Obviously, Timh.
Yeah, of course that's in there.
But it opens with him hunting down Mr. Hyde, and he goes up into this clock tower, and he's this big fucking I'm smoking my cigar. Yeah. Oh, Van Helsing. And he shoots him, and then he falls out the window. Mr.
30
Hyde.
portions. Deal.
What about falls out the window, and then he dies on the sidewalk as Henry Jekyll.
Yeah.
And then everyone is down there and they look up and they go, Van Helsing, you monster! Because they just think he killed
a normal guy.
The normal Professor Jekyll. And it's like, that's dope.
Sure.
That's a sick ass
and
way to.
Because I love that device of introducing your character doing a separate plot for the main plot. Like we don't. It's not rushing to get into the plot.
No,
I love beginning adventures.
Yes, exactly.
No, I agree. What happened to that?
That's a good point. So that was another thing I wanted to make.
the Indiana Jones, like Chuck, get the plane up, like just like we're just meeting who he is.
Big moment, and then there's more. Like there's more.
Well,
to
also
this?
now that the idol would absolutely be a factor in finding the Ark.
Yes.
If that movie was made now. There's no way you'd get away with like,
wait, so they stuff before. It's like,
but he ran for the...
I suppose they introduced the villain, I guess.
Right, which is fair.
Exactly,
and this is similar. It's like we're getting an introduction to what he does and who he is.
Yeah, that's exactly. Right? And that's why Indy is such a prevailing character. I think because of intentional choices like that, of establishing him as like a badass adventurer.
And it helps you imagine...
Unrelated to the
Exactly,
plot.
it helps you imagine that there's others.
Yes.
That like, he's gone on hundreds of these.
But regardless, back to the point of Van Helsing, one thing that I really harped on was they say like there's too much CGI in this movie, like way too much. Do you remember when that was like a criticism and not just the reality we lived in? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like we're in a world where if you watch behind the scenes footage, it's like, everything in this movie was CGI. What the fuck happened here? Yeah. Like to say that there's too much CGI in this movie.
I was about to say, probably when you watch this now, this feels like a nice, grounded, classically shot blockbuster. Where you're like,
well, The Mummy is great blockbuster. It's a great blockbuster. It's
big sets.
Adventure. Yes. Yeah. And it's all, set construction. It's all there. And it's just, I think movies.
This is. Are we maybe being nostalgic? Like, are we maybe because
we're absolutely because
we were 9?
No, because there's shit we do now that is infinitely better than like.
Sure, of course.
I think as far as like character work, places we let our characters go is so much more open now, and just the kind of things that movies can be about is much more open now. Superheroes and murderers.
Yeah, you've talked. You've talked about the Marvel movies before, Tim H, where it's like we should just be, not just be, but we should be grateful because the quality level has gone up.
The average standard of
big blockbuster quality.
Right.
But the thing I lament most is like those kind of sets, like where it's just like, this is a place. Like you're setting up the idea of this is Imhotep's tomb, or I mean Stephen Sommers. Look, he's not a great director. I don't want to ride this guy's dick or pretend that he's like this great filmmaker. But dude, like, how do you watch his movies and not go like, oh yeah, that was a good time. That was at least a 50. Like at the very least, I had a good fun time with this silly, stupid movie. Except the third Mummy, it was not. I didn't like it.
Yeah, although did he still direct that? Maybe.
Yeah, probably not. I think he was off it by then.
Scorpion King. 30 portion.
Everyone is that guy. Onkar Plot.
Go. I know you're itching to do it, dude.
No.
Go ahead.
Like, no, it's not even that. I'm thinking back to what we were saying about indie though, and like we won't go on a side tangent for this for too long, but I've said my dream beginning to the Han Solo movie, since it's kind of going to be made like a comedy and written like,
of course, hopefully, right.
But by those guys, like I kind of would love for it to start with like Han and Chewie like running away from something and doing the equivalent of Lando, start the Falcon, like, and they're in trouble. like it's like I kind of want that to just like I know they won't be that direct, but I kind of want something that like mental of like get them in the air, like, and they're just in trouble.
But you also have the genius of like, okay, literally the earliest point in the timeline that we're introduced to Han Solo, he's fucking someone over, and the last point in the timeline when we see Han Solo, he's fucking someone over. Right. Like that's just who he is.
They're gonna open and he's like a priest.
Yeah,
yeah. First scene of this movie,
the untold story. But yeah, I just love that. I love. Exactly. Yeah. It's like that. And Han Solo is Han Solo is Indiana Jones. Just
I mean that's what they'll probably make. Nice. They'll do space indie. Like that's.
Can I just take us? Okay, you're gonna have to title this. Defenders of the Rotten, bring Polar Downers of the Fresh.
It's Reasonable Beef, episode 6.
And if you wait long enough, we start talking about stuff like Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones. So like, oh god, what was I about to say? Okay, Tarkin. Why the fuck? Period. Why? Why do that? Why?
Big muff.
We recast the what's her name? Who's the leader of the Resistance? We recast fucking Han Solo, Lando. We've got different people who are going to be the faces of these people. Let's just get used to it. God damn it! I mean, Obi-Wan looks different a bunch of different times. Like, why put us through the turmoil of looking like a PS4 game?
Part of me wonders if they did it just because they could. Like, they're trying out this new technology.
They got so concerned with, can we do this? You didn't think if we should. Thanks, everybody.
Disney finds a way.
Yeah, they do. They do find
you see what you
a way.
How?
Disney.
How?
What was that?
Is that a reference? Or what are you doing?
All right, Tim, give us your portions. Give us your percentages.
I guess I didn't give you a portion.
That's mine! Go on. Sorry.
Iconic character.
Yes.
Every one of the Star Wars movies has one of those, right? Like the Jewish fly bird elephant from this fucking.
No, they won't. I gave him the. I know this is a audio only program, but I did the very Italian.
The fingers together.
What's the matter, you?
Yes.
I mean, it's funny how literally we've spent so much of people don't know this, I guess, but we've spent so much of today picking small Star Wars characters and giving them like more, like we've been quoting them.
Yes.
Like literally earlier we've been doing Saul Guerrero with lies, deceptions, every day more lies.
What we're saying is, everyone, Earth has become a meme, and join or die.
53 is what I would put Van Helsing at.
Okay.
At 53. Fair. It's not. It's obviously not fair. It's a movie. Here's the thing. Look, this is my personal. It's a movie for me and my dad. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like one of those where it's just like my dad is not the smartest dude in the entire universe, and we can watch this big dumb movie that we both can appreciate, maybe for different reasons, maybe for some of the same reasons.
Right.
But it's one of those.
Like your dad's watching it because he likes seeing people get stabbed in the chest
Yes.
with pieces of wood. And you're watching it because you like Hugh Jackman's chest.
Yes, a huge jacked man.
Yeah, I understand. It brings families together.
Yes, and this was a movie that you put on to test a new DVD setup in 2006, like with your 6,000 pound.
This was playing on all of the 30 Walmart TVs in 2005.
Yeah, that's 100%,
every TV had that on.
But yeah, so 53% was what I
like that.
set it out. So critics are. Fuck the critics, man. It's got a 50. It's actually got a 53 audience score, which is like, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what? As I was doing, picking my choices for this episode, like I was having a lot of fun checking audience versus. And you know what's interesting? Iron Man is one of the franchises where critics and the audience are totally in sync.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
most of those Marvel
it's like
movies.
90
Deadpool
like
was also
it's like 92 for the first one, like 70 like for the second one, and then like or something like that, and then it was similar. It was like high 70s 80s for the third one, and every time audience agreed, because it's interesting when you like there's some major franchises, I suppose, or
Batman v Superman,
where there's just a massive difference.
I'm a big Marvel fan, obviously. I mean, we've established this. It is insanely cuckoo the Coco Bongo Club, only the creme de la creme may apply.
Weird deep cut mask reference.
So those movies are 75% almost across the board, like on all of them. Because there's no, I love Iron Man. It's not like a 94.
It's like a 91 right now. Sure it is.
The
first one?
Like if you look at its peers of like other movies that are rated that high, it's like, no, this is a really good Hollywood blockbuster that's a cut above, maybe about an 80. And I think that's most of the Marvel movies.
I'd put the higher ones. I'd put the better ones, like the first Avengers, Civil War, first Iron Man. I'd put them in the 80s.
Yes.
And I'd put
like
a lot of the others.
I wish I could erase my mind and watch each one sing it. The sequels, suffer. But if you were to imagine just watching the first Iron Man and having nothing else, you didn't have anything in front of you, nothing behind you, and you just got to see that as its own movie, that's a good little movie, dude. It's like that's your hero journey, baby.
Wow, guys, this was a long one.
This was a long fucking one.
I'll have to do some choppy bits, but
choppy bits.
Thanks so much for sticking around, guys. www.patreon.com/reasonablebeef.com.
Maybe we should just defend the rotten from now on and not be like,
no. Why don't we talk about that off mic?
Now, you all know that if we don't do that, it was because there was and then when you see that I left Reasonable Beef and it says creative differences, you know it was actually a feud.
I'm 100% cutting this out. Thanks for listening, guys. www.reasonablebeef or patreon.com/reasonablebeef.
Sorry.
This is the important part. We could have done this.
Deceptions.
Money. Okay, www.reasonablebeef, patreon.com/reasonablebeef. Please give money or whatever you can if you want to continue to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. And we could do things like afford to pay Nick here so we can increase our audio quality and do other outside stuff. Tim, do you have anything to plug? You got like an upcoming movie or any projects or anything like that?
Man, don't do this to me.
No, he has nothing. He's going to go to McDonald's after this.
He doesn't do anything.
I've written a script, but that's not going to be a movie for about 5 years. So
okay, well,
generous.
In 5 years, look out for a script. Dom, how you been?
Hey, it's me, Don.
I really don't not care at all. Thanks so much, guys.
Are we doing Three-Headed Critic, or is that part of the other?
Three-Headed Critic of Rotten Tomatoes.
Here
we go. Let's do it. Why the fuck not? Okay. Rotten
lies.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. The Reasonable Beef. I am Tim E. Kish. That's Dom Farah. Tim H. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Nick, for audio stuff. Have a good night, everybody.